Well, we want to welcome you to In the Blender with Brandon and Madeline Hyman, and we're just so excited to be with you all on this evening. And I tell you, it's just been an awesome time. We're still bubbling over from last Saturday. If you saw the broadcast, if you missed the broadcast, please go to In the Blender page or to our personal page and view that interview with WJMS. It was awesome. Off the chain, off the hook, fire, lit, all of the above, and then some. I tell you, it was a phenomenal interview that we had with Jamie over at WJMS. So insightful, impactful, and we're just excited. That's all we've been talking about. People have been calling us, texting us, the whole 9 yards in regards to the interview, and I tell you, just words can't even express the excitement that we have as it relates to last Saturday and the upcoming Saturday with the part 2 of the interview. And I tell you, you don't want to miss it. So go to In the Blender page, our Facebook page, In the Blender, or to our individual page, Brandon Hyman or Madeline Hyman, and view that interview. I tell you, you will be the blessed one because of it. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into this week's episode. We're just going to do a small recap again because we know we got some exciting things we're going to be discussing on Saturday, so we don't want to move too far ahead of things. So we're just going to do a recap of some of the previous episodes that we've shared with you guys, that some questions have come up, some things some people wanted some clarity on, so we said we want to just go back again and revisit those. So please, sweetheart, give us some of the statistics that we shared before.
Okay, in 1960, just 13% of married adults were in a second or subsequent marriage. Today, close to 23% is in a second or subsequent marriage. 42 million adults. This is triple the 1960 rate.
Yes.
And lastly, of new marriages, 40% are remarriages. 20% for one partner or 20% for both partners.
So again, those are some alarming statistics that we just shared with you guys. Some that we want to make sure that In the Blender curtails those statistics. We want to make sure that the information that we share will be insightful, that will be a blessing, so that we can bring that number down. It's important that we fulfill that assignment with the ministry that we're a part of, Spirit of Faith Christian Center. One of the marriage ministries that we have is Marriage Made Easy, hosted by our pastors, Dr. Mike and Dee Dee Freeman. It's an awesome ministry. You make sure you want to. We'll make sure you guys tune into that as well. That's every other month here locally, and so you don't want to miss that. Some valuable things that we have learned to enhance our marriage relationship, and so it's important that we take this information that's given to us and that we apply it to our daily livings. Because, you know, if information isn't no good if you're not using it, then all it is just words. And so we want to make sure that we're using the information to apply to our lives so we can be the beneficiary of it. One of the things we want to talk about tonight is, what is a blended family? If you watched the broadcast on last Saturday, that was one of the things that we discussed. What is a blended family? And it was interesting, some of the definitions that Jamie gave us as it relates to the blended family and the step family. Many of you know that watch us know we don't subscribe to step anything. My wife, she's not my step wife. I'm not her step husband. So why should we call our children step? And so I'm real serious about that, and I'm real concerned because you don't understand when you start using this term step. In actuality, what you're doing is you're saying that there's no real connection. You've connected with the spouse, but you're not connected with the child. Well, guess what? That child is an extension of that spouse. And so just like that spouse isn't a step, that child isn't a step. That child is now your child. And so it's important that you get an understanding that you relate in that manner. A lot of difficulties come in this dynamic because you're already starting off on a negative foot. You're already starting off wrong. And so we want to make sure going forward that you understand that step is not allowed in your household. Only steps allowed in your household is the ones that's probably going upstairs to your bedroom or downstairs to your basement. Those are only steps that are allowed into your house. But as it relates to the humans that's in your house, the individuals that's in your house, the children that's in your house, also the parents that's in the house, there's no steps. And so we want to make that clear. We want to make sure that we emphasize that so that you can begin to experience the wholeness. There's no wholeness in step. I don't care how you look at it. I don't care how you want to wrap it up. When you start making those names of steps, you're already setting yourself up for failure. And so we want to make sure that we deal with that. So what is a blended family? A blended family forms when you and your partner make a life together with the children from one or both of the previous relationships. That's what a blended family is. And so we want to make sure that you get an understanding. When you're coming together, guess what? This is a blended family. And there's nothing like a blended family. I love the blended family. I love what we've been able to accomplish together, what we've done with our children. And so it's so exciting. You know, it's just like we talked about Saturday when you're a juicer, those that juice, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Those ingredients by themselves, they're great. But when you put them things together, oh my God. It's nothing.
All the more better.
Oh my goodness. It's nothing like the hint of orange with the hint of pineapple. With the hint of strawberry, with the hint of grape, with the hint of raspberry or blueberry or some cinnamon or some kale. It's nothing like when you take that drink and you can taste all those different flavors all into one. Well, guess what? That's the same thing you get with the blended family. You take all these individual ingredients and you put them together and you bring them together and you blend them together, and guess what? There's a taste that comes out of that blending it hits your taste buds real good. And so we want to encourage you guys, listen, enjoy this journey. Enjoy this blended family. There's nothing like it. God so loved us that he made us a part of his family. And guess what? That made us blended. And so we want to make sure that you understand the same love that God had towards us when he invited us into his family is the same love that you share with your family as well. And so we're excited.
Yeah, that's like the ultimate blended family right there.
That's the ultimate blended family.
Hey.
No doubt about it.
Nothing like it.
Nothing like it. And so, listen, oh my God, we're just so excited about this. But again, a blended family forms when you and your partner make a life together with the children from one or both of the previous relationships. The process of forming a new blended family can be both rewarding and challenging.
True.
That's so true. It can be rewarding and challenging. Don't you know that there were some challenges that we had when we started this blended family? Man, there were some challenges that we had when we started this blended family because I had no idea. I had no clue on how to deal with my daughters. I had no clue on how to make things go and flow the way they needed to flow. And so there were challenges, man. I was stuck in my way. It was my way or the highway, you know. It was all about me, myself, and I. And so let me don't say no more because she agreeing too hard over here. but there were challenges that we faced, you know. There were times when I was almost set on fire. There were times when I got busted in the head with a shoe.
They gonna get you for telling them stories. They gonna get you.
Hey, they did it, so we gonna talk about it. You know, but there were some challenges that we faced, and there were some other challenges that we're not gonna share right now. But somewhere down the line, we had a freedom to share some things with you guys that would totally blow your mind. You know, seeing us where we at right now and the things that we went through. But there were some challenges that we faced. But at the end of the road, it was all rewarding. Every challenge that we faced brought about a bigger reward in our life and in our family because we learn how to navigate every situation. We learn how to navigate the highs as well as the lows. And we learn how to put everything in the same basket. And that way, we didn't give too much weight to great things. We didn't give too much weight to not so great things. We just embraced whatever we had to embrace. We learned from them. We took whatever we needed to take from them. And then we produced the fruit that needed to be produced so that we can have the family that we now have. And so in this new dynamic, in this new relationship, there are going to be challenges as well as rewards. While you as a parent are likely to approach remarriage in a new family with a great joy and expectation, understand this. Your kids and sometimes your new spouse may not be as excited as you are.
Especially the kids, I think.
Especially the kids, man. So, listen, It's nothing like when you come into a blended family and that child has a super strong bond with their natural parent. Mm-hmm. And you have to make sure that before you enter into this, that there are some things that are made clear.
Right.
A lot of times people enter into this dynamic, into this system, and they don't make things clear. Mm-hmm. So when they come together, it seems as if you're trying to take that person's spot. You're trying to take their place. And let me tell you something. The worst thing you could do is make a child think you're trying to replace their natural parent.
Right.
One of the things that I was sure to make sure everybody knew this. I sat down with their dad and I said, listen, I'm not here to replace you. Yep. I'm not here to take your place. I'm here to assist you. Yep. Whatever you need me to do to make this thing all that you wanted to be, guess what? That's what I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. And because of that, man, our relationship skyrocketed. I mean, I could sit down and talk with their dad about any and everything. Actually, whenever we would have family gatherings, we would spend most of the time talking with each other. Mm-hmm. So much so that it was blowing everybody else's mind because they was like, what's up with them two? Well, guess what? We knew what we had in common, right. And we knew what we wanted to accomplish by the rearing and the gearing of these girls, these young women. And so we just had a lot to talk about. And so it's important that you make sure, or that you understand that they may not be as excited. You could be super excited to come in to bring some insight, to bring some understanding, to bring another level of love and interest into their life, but they may not be understanding. They may not be appreciative at first. Right. They may not want it at first, but understand something. You have to continue to persevere.
And I think it's to do with the ages.
Yes.
At different ages, you're going to get different reactions.
Exactly, because the younger kids, the kids like 11 and under, they're more receptive. Yeah, they're a little bit more receptive and accepting because they just want to be loved, man. Right. They love attention. They don't care, you know. But when you start getting a little older, there are some bonds.
Teenagers, different things.
Preteens and teens,
dealing with their own selves, and then they have to deal with that, you know.
And so, you know, they got a bond with that parent.
Right.
And so, you know, they got an expectation. And some of the expectation is that the both natural parents will get back together.
Right. Right.
And so now you got to deal with that.
Right.
Thank God we didn't have to deal with that one because it wasn't going to happen. It wasn't going to happen anyway.
Well, we knew it wasn't going to happen.
You know what I'm saying?
Can't say in their minds that, you know, we don't know what... You know,
but we didn't have to deal with that one. I don't think so. I don't recall dealing with that one. And so it's important to understand. And then also, they're likely to feel uncertain about the upcoming changes and how they will affect the relationship with their natural parents. Mm-hmm. See, we're talking about changes.
Yep.
This is the year change, so we got to talk about those changes. There are some changes that come along with the blended family that a lot of times the kids, they aren't ready for. They don't even want those changes. They aren't ready to receive those changes. And so you have to know how to navigate that. Mm-hmm. You have to know how to circumvent their dislikes. You have to know how to circumvent the wall that they may put up or their posture as it relates to the changes. And when you learn to do those things, you'll experience such a joy in your relationship with them children that it'll far supersede and surpass your expectations. And so we just wanted to kind of give a little update or insight on what a blended family is. Now we're going to talk about making your blended family a success. Go ahead, sweetheart. What you going to say?
Go down to the next point because we're talking about that Saturday.
Planning your blended family.
Go down.
Because we talked about that, planning your blended family. Man, you know, it's important to sit down and discuss the blended family. What do you mean by that? It's important when you guys decide that you want to become one. It's important to discuss how you're going to raise the children. Mm-hmm. How you're going to discipline. We're not going to talk about that right now. We'll talk about that another time. But you want to talk about the finances. You want to talk about the relationships, the rules.
Expectations.
What else?
Wants, needs. Just everything that involves your family plan, your goals.
Yes.
Visions, dreams for the family, just all of that.
You want to make sure you discuss all those things because the last thing you want to do is you want to enter into this without a clue.
Right.
The Bible says the people perish because there's no vision. Where there's no vision, the people perish. And so you want to make sure that you present a vision for your family. Mm-hmm. You want to present something to your family where they can look at and now they can aspire to attain.
Yep.
There's some goals that they can reach out and grab. But if you don't have those, then guess what you're doing? You're setting yourself up for failure. There were some things that we put out right from the start that we wanted to see our family accomplish. And we accomplished every single one of those things. So it's important to make sure that those things are done. Making parental changes before you marry. This is important. Mm-hmm. There are some changes that's going to take place in this dynamic that need to take place before you guys say, I do.
Right.
There are some things that we tried to do after we said I do that blew up. I mean, it didn't quite go the way we wanted to go initially, but we hung in there. We talked it out. We worked it out. There was a lot of give and take. Mm-hmm. There were a lot of compromise because we didn't take the time to sit down and make those changes initially. One of those changes was my wife. She always used to love to, in the bedroom, she used to love to have family meetings with the girls or family gatherings. Mm-hmm. Well, when I came along, I didn't know anything about these family gatherings. And, I was from the school where that's where the magic happens. So I don't need you laying across the bed because that's where the magic happened. And so, they would want to come in there. And I'm like, no, y'all can't come in here. Y'all got to go in the living room and talk. Well, guess what? I disrupted their total flow of how they communicated. That's something that they did ever since they were born, ever since they can remember. And so here I come along not understanding or having no real knowledge of this particular thing that they were doing on a daily basis, and I just stopped it cold. Mm-hmm. And because of that, man, it made it seem as if we were fighting over their mom. I was fighting for her, for my wife. They were fighting for her, for their mom. We were all fighting for her attention. And then not only that, it made her feel as if, and see my daughter now, she's doing it now. That's the only time she. That's my oldest daughter. She's doing a lot of hearts. Yeah, okay. We're gonna talk about you in that shoe later. But
she needs to come over here so she can tell her own story about it.
Exactly. And so that it interrupted their flow. And so you want to make sure that any changes that are made, you make these changes beforehand, or especially at least discuss those changes, right, so that going into it, there's no surprises. Everybody know, okay, now this is going to be the new rule. Mm-hmm. This is going to be the new standard. And so when you do that, there's no hiccups, there's no surprises, there's no kickback, because now everybody knows what to expect.
Exactly.
Anything you want to say about that? Actually, you want to say about that? Common challenges. We've been talking about some challenges that that you face in this. Oh man, there are a lot of challenges that arise in this, because again, you're talking about a matter of wills. You're talking about individuals that have their own perspective, that have their own viewpoint, that have their own will, their own emotions, their own thoughts, and so you got all of these things wrapped up into this blended family dynamic. And guess what? There's some common challenges that all of us face. Parental inexperience. For me, that was a big challenge, because again, my wife, she had raised, the girls. One at the particular time, the youngest one was 9.
Yeah. They was
between 9 and 16.
10, 13, and 16.
So they were between 10 and 16. So here's 16 years of parental experience that she had under her belt. Well, guess what? I only had 5 months of a parental experience. After that, there was no more experience for me. I experienced some other things, but it wasn't parental experience. And so my inexperience showed tremendously when I came into this family dynamic, because I didn't know how to handle things that weren't going my way, or things that weren't going the way I expected them to go, or things that didn't just look like the way I wanted them to look.
Well, just not how to be a parent, period. Really.
I was.
You didn't know how to be a parent.
I was clueless, man. I read so many books and so many articles. It was like, man, I had a PhD in parenting.
Like just dumbfounded.
Yeah. See how she just slapped me? I was though.
You ain't know nothing.
I was toe up. No, I really didn't.
It was funny. Yeah.
You
was just.
I was on the fly. I was learning like on the fly big time.
Yeah.
But I made it my prerogative, man. I made it my priority to make sure that I got the information needed to be a success. Because one thing I don't like doing is I'm not a failure. There's no failure in God, therefore there's no failure in me. And so just because things weren't going the way I wanted them to go, that didn't mean I failed. That just means I need to get more information to equip myself to be a success. And so that's what I did.
And when you're determined to
very determined.
You're going to do whatever you need to do, make whatever changes need to be made, make whatever adjustments need to be made when you really determine, because it can work if you want it to work.
And this is important because some of you guys watching this right now, it seems like you're failing. It seems as if things just, no matter what you do, is not working, especially if you're not really experienced in parenting. It seems like all your suggestions are bad suggestions and all your ideas aren't great ideas. Well, guess what? You can be victorious in this area if you just continue to press your way on.
Yep.
Get the proper tools, the essential tools necessary to build yourself up. Read as many books as you can read on parenting, on blended family, on how to relate to children that you didn't biologically bring here.
Right.
And so those different things will equip you to be a success.
Yep.
Changes in family relationships. There are changes.
Mm-hmm.
There are times my wife, all her time went to the girls. All their time went to my wife. Well, guess what? That changed because now I was in the picture. Mm-hmm. And so we had to make sure that we divided the time properly.
Right.
Not equally, but properly.
Right.
And so that was a change in relationship. Mm-hmm. Because now it wasn't just all about her and the girls. Now it was about her, the girls, as well as myself. And so you have to understand that there are changes that's going to come in this family relationship.
Yep.
And you have to make sure that you guys discuss these changes and that you prepare yourself for these changes. Because the last thing you want is for those changes to come unexpectedly.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we had to deal with. We had to deal with a lot of unexpected changes.
Yes. Yeah.
And man, it was a lot of unexpected drama we dealt with too.
Yeah.
But to God be the glory because all the things that he equipped us with and enabled us to learn, the wisdom that he imparted in us, it just allowed us to just bypass certain things regardless of what was coming up. We still was moving. And so you want to make sure that you understand that changes will be in that family relationship. Also, there could be difficulty sometimes in accepting that new parent.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely. Most definitely.
That's big.
And again, I think it kind of come in with the age.
Mm-hmm.
It has a lot to do with it, too, because, again, the younger they are, sometimes they're more accepting. You get to that middle age, you kind of they have challenges, I don't want a new parent in here, I don't want somebody else in here. And then even with the older ones, they have their challenges with it.
And let me say this.
And then they're not around as much.
And not only that, sweetheart, sometimes it comes from the other parent. You got to understand this. Like one of the things that we dealt with was with the girl's father, everything was crystal clear. There was no problems. It was so much so that he told me, man, listen, whatever you need to do, to discipline, to correct, to train, you want to make sure that whatever you need to do, I back you.
Right.
But as far as my son was concerned, that was a whole nother ball game because there were some things, and we're going to talk about that later. I'm not going to get to that. We're going to talk about that later. You guys want to tune in to Saturday because you want to hear Saturday's broadcast, the Facebook Live broadcast at 12 o'clock Saturday.
With WJMS.
Oh, man. Yes, you want to be on that because when we talk about that, that's going to be hilarious. So you want to make sure, it's going to be real interesting. But there can be some difficulties in accepting a new parent. Right. And so we want to make sure that you guys...
It's understandable because, when you have your mother and your mom and your dad around for a long time or, then they separate, they go their own ways, that's hard on children.
Exactly.
They're affected in many different ways by, parent breakup.
I think about the movie Are We There Yet? Man.
Oh, yeah, when they was giving it to
man, they was giving it to Ice Cube. He didn't have a chance.
Yeah,
you know,
all kind of things.
And some of you guys, you feel that way right now. You feel like Ice Cube, like they setting your car on fire, you know, or they gonna try to set you on fire. No matter what you do, is being thrown in your face, man. A lot of things, you know, or just like you just not being received at all. Yeah. But understand, that will pass.
Yep.
That will pass.
Yeah, and so don't get discouraged.
That's right.
Just keep on keeping on. Keep doing what you're doing.
We talked about those changes in traditions. That was a tradition when they got together. What other tradition did you guys have?
Because I was really, really family oriented, because I have a lot of sisters, and we have a big family, and we always used to do things together. And then, you know, one of the challenges when you came along, you was more like solo type person, so you always wanted to do stuff just me and you, and I still wanted to do stuff with, you know, my family, because that's how I was. So that was, you know, one of the biggest challenges. You know, I dealt with a lot of things concerning that.
Yeah.
Know? So because
I wasn't a favorite early on. I soon became a favorite, but I wasn't a favorite early on because I wanted my wife all to myself.
Yeah, because you was just different. So it was like,
I'm special.
Ooh,
yeah.
I went through a lot.
Very.
Oh, boy, you put me through a lot of changes in this blended family.
Wow. And you stay here?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. That's a good thing then.
So, hey.
Exactly. You know, and so, you know, understand something, that changes in traditions, man, they can come up. You know, again, I was real. I just love spending.
You were selfish, really.
I was.
That's what it was.
I was. I mean, sometimes
and you can't be selfish.
A little bit.
Well, everybody is to, you know, a little bit, but you was like really, really selfish when it came to me.
Very.
And I didn't know how to do that because I had always been, you know, family oriented. It was from growing up, we always had a bunch of people around. All of us sisters and cousins, and you know,
and let me say this:
a lot of us all the time.
My pastor always says this: more is caught than taught. Mm-hmm. It's important to understand that what you do in front of your kids will affect your kids. The reason why I am so possessive with my wife and want her time is that. Stop.
No, I was trying to read. He said,
so
true. I wish I could have asked you guys for advice in the beginning of our family blending experience. I can relate, but we are stronger than ever and love each other. That's a blessing.
Exactly.
See, a lot of people wish they did have information.
And it's important. You know what I'm saying? But the reason why I was so much like that is because of what I saw growing up. You know, and so I wanted to make sure that I gave my wife all of me.
Right.
You know, I didn't want to share me with anybody else. I wanted to share me with her, and so that's why I had that such a strong desire to spend a lot of time with you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I wanted you to have all of me.
Right.
And so that was important. Keeping all parents involved. We talked about that, man. Mm-hmm. Make sure you keep all parents involved. Mm-hmm. I don't care how the relationship. Understand something. It's not about you guys. When it comes to the kids, it's not about you guys anyway. A lot of times parents make it about them when it's really about the kids.
It's about the kids.
You know what I'm saying? Listen, if you guys have moved on, move on.
Right.
Don't play that game. Don't allow that other person to play that game with you.
Right. Don't use your kids as pawn. Don't play those games.
No, because you got a lot of parents. Mature. Exactly. When it comes to visitation, they want to play games. When it comes with finances, they want to play games. Mm-hmm. When it comes with time, they want to play games. And so you got to make sure that...
Monster, I think his mother told him he would be the first black president. Yeah,
she
Mom,
did.
You did this.
Yeah, she started all this. And so you want to make sure. Yeah, she did. She did a great job. So
yes,
leave her alone.
Did. Thank you, Ma. I love you.
Exactly. She got me out of a lot of trouble. So we're not gonna bother her. You know, but understand you got to keep all parents involved.
Yeah,
it's important.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about the relationship. You know, unfortunately, we didn't have that type of relationship with my son's mother.
Right.
you know, but she would have been involved, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, if she was willing. And sometimes, you know, you got to understand this. The Bible says, if at possible, be at peace with all men.
Yep.
If at possible. There's some people you just can't be at peace with.
But I was mature enough to know that I wasn't mature enough to handle that, to deal with that. Because back then I was like, Lord, you talking about 20 years, I was saved, but I wasn't delivered. So I was mature enough to know that I wasn't mature enough to.
Exactly. So when it came down to dealing with spouses, that was my job. I'm like,
well, yeah, because my ex wasn't like that. We could have got along, but because you guys were able
but
to
I'm
just,
still,
you know.
I'm the master negotiator, man. It's not too many things I can't negotiate myself out of or into. And so, you know, because I was good at dealing with things like that, I just took it upon myself to be the one that handled it. And so,
and if you know you can't, let the more mature one do it.
Exactly. And it's nothing. There are some things that my wife is so much greater and so much mature and so much wiser than me on. That's what she does. And there are some things that on the flip side that I can do a little bit better. That's what I do. And there's nothing with understanding that and operating in that.
Right.
Because it makes what you want to do that much easier.
Exactly.
And so, listen, we just wanted to give you guys a recap of some of the previous.
I can't believe it's 8 o'clock already.
Some of the previous broadcasts. Again, we don't want to get into too much because we got to save this exciting stuff for this Saturday.
Saturday, 12 noon.
Give them the information, man, sweetie.
Tune in to us Saturday at 12 to 2. The second part of the mini series with WJMS Jamie Jam. We had a great time this past Saturday. If you didn't get to catch it, please go back and view it. You will be blessed. I'm telling you, we shared some good information. We had a good time. And this week is going to be even more exciting. So watch us via Facebook Live, and Jamie Jam will be live, WJMS. And if you have any questions that you want answered, you can email us at weareablendedfamily@gmail.com.
Give them that email one more time.
weareablendedfamily@gmail.com.
Listen, we love you guys. We thank you guys for sharing with us. We thank you guys for sharing the broadcast. It's been so exciting. We're excited. This In the Blender ministry is going to another level. It's going to another dimension. Doors are opening all across this country, and we're just excited. Continue to tune in.
And shout out, I see Zavanya on here. Hey, Zavanya, Ma. I saw Dad. I saw Ashanti. I saw Jamie Jam. I saw cousin Rich. I missed some of y'all. I seen Darnell. So thank all of you all for tuning in. We love you. And tune in on Saturday, 12 noon.
My man Jimmy Wright, Kim. Hey, Kim, what's going on, Kim?
Thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure that once you view this, share it on your Facebook page so you can get this information out to other blended families so they can be blessed just like we're blessed.
We love you guys. Until Saturday, bye-bye.
Peace.